Storm quarters. Quarters.
Dale pregunta, no sé,
Good, brother. How are you?
Mr. Sanchez, how you doing?
Testing 1, 2. Testing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more at the house.
One, two. 1, 2.
No, yo creo que vamos a hacer una cosita así. We are ready to start the meeting today at 7:07 PM. Madam Clerk, please call. Please, I'm sorry, do the roll call.
Mr. Calvo,
Present.
Ms. Casal Munoz,
Present.
Ms. Garcia Robles,
Present.
Ms. Perez is absent, Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Mr. Tumidor is absent, Mr. Zogby.
Present.
Madam Vice President, you have enough members to conduct business.
Okay, everyone, please stand for the invocation led by our city clerk.
Lord, we ask for your continued blessing upon our city. We ask that you grant the members of this council wisdom and understanding in every decision they face. Amen.
Everyone, please face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please read the meeting guidelines.
The following guidelines have been established by the city council. All lobbyists must register with the city clerk. As a courtesy to others, please refrain from using cellular telephones or other similar electronic devices in the council chamber. A maximum of 3 speakers in favor and 3 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the council on any one item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No signs or placards in support of or in opposition to an item or speaker shall be permitted within the council chamber. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on matters of public concern or on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may address the city council on any item pertaining to city business during the comments and questions portion of the meeting. A member of the public is limited to 1 appearance before the city council, and the speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The public can view public meetings on the city's YouTube page. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard.
Let's move on to presentation. Sorry, the mic was off. Let's move on to presentations,
There are none.
comments and questions. Do we have any online?
No one online.
In the chambers?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Dela Paz, 9361 Burr Road. Since it's such a short agenda, I have a small comment. And I'm not being sarcastic in what I'm about to say. Many years ago, we had a great debate in these chambers and we came out with a half-baked certificate of reoccupancy ordinance, and it hasn't worked. I can tell you it has not worked. I don't care what the realtor said back then and will say now. It's not working because the certificate of reoccupancy now is no longer done by zoning, it's done by the building department, it's done by code enforcement. And you send a code enforcement individual to the house, they look at the house, they give you a certificate of reoccupancy saying, the house is beautiful, it's full of violation, but I'm not saying that. And it gives the buyers a false sense of security that they're getting a house that passed muster, when in reality it's not. We should all put our big boys and girls pants, tie up the belt, and do something like North Miami or even Miami Springs, where you get the house inspected, and if there's any violations, we will point them out to the potential buyers. The houses in Hialeah are no longer worth $75,000. Believe it or not, there is not a single house in Hialeah for sale with less than $250,000. I say $250,000 because it brings out the attention to everybody, not $250,000. That's a substantial investment for those people that are buying that house on the false pretense that it passed muster when it doesn't. because the certificate of occupancy was only designed to make sure there was not a second kitchen in the house. And that was about it. It was wrong back then. It continues to be wrong. And I think that you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the city council should consider amending it because it's not fair to the buying public that they're paying top money for something that is not there. And I should know. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Mr. Mark Abel. I live at 8740 Northwest 97th Avenue in Doral, and I am a community member. I teach at Matter Academy in Hialeah Gardens, and I came to speak about a possible opportunity for the city of Hialeah. So basically, the Biden administration set aside millions of dollars to encourage municipalities to plant more trees. This initiative is a federal program that only municipalities or nonprofits can apply for. But the reason that I wanted to make sure I come in immediately is that the funding is actually the last chance to apply for the funding is going to be in May. So again, the opportunity to apply for the grant is time is running out. Now, there are a lot of advantages to this program. Number one, the communities that are most likely to receive the funding are considered high need communities. Again, some parts of Hialeah have a high poverty rate. And so the likelihood of the federal government providing the grant to Hialeah would be more likely than other areas. In addition, there was a recent article in the Atlantic talking about how it's imperative for us here in Miami to take climate change very seriously because, again, we are a coastal city. And so the likelihood of our city being underwater is a possibility within the next few decades. So this program of planting trees really achieves two areas. It reduces unemployment. It puts people that are either underemployed or unemployed to work planting trees, but also gives them the training to care for the existing trees. It will reduce pollution as the trees absorb pollution from cars and factories. It will also make us more climate resilient because trees sequester carbon and that can reduce global warming. And now, so let's talk a little more about the specifics here. So this grant is from the U.S. Department of Forestry. It's called the UCF program. And again, I would apply for this myself, but it needs to be done by a municipality. So I'm calling on the council members to please apply for this as soon as possible. Again, this is free money that's going to dry up soon in May. And again, the Biden administration set aside millions of dollars as part of the new budget, the new federal budget for the purpose of empowering communities with more trees. Now, another thing that stood out to me, so again, I provided all of the community members with two documents. So this first document,
You have 30 more seconds.
right.
Go ahead.
All right, so the first document has how to apply for the program. And then the second document is the Miami-Dade County Urban Tree Canopy Assessment. This talks about how Doral and Hialeah actually have a lower tree concentration than the wealthy areas. Coral Gables and Coconut Grove have the highest tree canopy cover. And, you know, it's really imperative that that these areas catch up with increasing the level of tree canopy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the information. Anyone else? Oh, go ahead. Go. Venga para adelante.
Hello, my name is Juliana Stopanon. My address is 481 West 65th Street, Hialeah 33012. Good evening, esteemed members of the Hialeah Council. My name is Juliana Stopanon, and I proudly represent Horeb Christian School's track and field team. Today, I would like to discuss the condition of the track at Good Lick Park and propose a solution for its improvement. In Hialeah, we currently have a total of 4 tracks, but unfortunately, they pose safety concerns. According to the information from NIH.gov, there is a high probability of injuries estimated at 76% for individuals using these tracks. The road track surface can be hazardous, causing injuries from falls, and the hard surface can also be detrimental to runners' legs. As a solution, I propose applying a smoother surface to the track using sand, fiber, and wax. While the estimated cost for this improvement falls within the range of $300,000 to $1.2 million, I suggest exploring fundraising options such as charitable donations or organizing small events to raise funds from the community. Implementing this improvement would greatly reduce the risk of injuries from falls and minimize the strain on athletes' legs, making the track safer for use. Additionally, the installation of a rubber surface would act like a springboard, providing athletes with more energy and speed during their stride, which would benefit not only our schools, but also other schools and teams in the area. I urge the council to seriously consider this proposal as an investment in the well-being and the safety of our local athletes. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you for all that information. That was a lot of research.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You want to give our directors a few tips? No, we're gonna get to that. I'm just kidding, but
That was good. That was
Kidding.
good.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. He's doing an awesome job and we are gonna get that track fixed sooner than later. But thank you.
Good evening. My name is
Buenas.
Gabriel Rodriguez,
Yes.
361 East 12th Street, Hialeah, Florida. I appreciate the opportunity you gave me tonight to letting me speak and make some comments about the situations in the city. Lo primero que puedo comentar es lo siguiente, que todos ustedes lo saben.
The
first thing that I wanna-
Acuérdate que tiene que traducir.
I'm
Sí.
sorry.
Yeah, so.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Ajá.
Lo primero que tengo que decir es lo
The first thing
siguiente,
I want to say is,
todos ustedes lo saben,
all of you know,
todos los oponentes políticos que tienen, todos ustedes,
all the opponents in the political parties that we have,
desde que se levantan en la mañana están pensando
since
O
we wake
están-
up in the morning, we think
o están buscando el mínimo detalle cómo hacer comentarios en contra de ustedes y dañar la imagen de la ciudad.
of making comments on how to negatively damage the city.
Este comentario que voy a hacer, yo estuve averiguando para ver si
This
había
comment that I wanted to make,
algún departamento o alguien específicamente que
if there
hubiera,
was a specific department or someone in specific
que hubiera tenido alguna culpabilidad en esto que está sucediendo en este momento.
if there was any fault in what was going on,
No simplemente para como
not simply
coverage a la persona o al departamento, simplemente para averiguar y estar bien seguro de todo.
not to cover. Just to know,
Yo estuve llamando a diferentes departamentos.
I was calling different departments,
La ayuda que me dio la señorita Bridget
the help that Bridget provided
para tratar de contactar departamentos que tuvieran
to
que ver con,
contact different departments
que tuvieran que ver con esa situación. Bueno, voy a ir
that
directamente,
have to do with those situations.
voy a ir directamente al punto.
Was
Eh,
directly to the point.
Coincidió que la semana pasada, de jueves para viernes,
Last week from Thursday to Monday,
le tocaba hacer la recogida de los tanques verdes de recycles.
the recycle was due for pickup.
Quizás muchos de ustedes o quizás ninguno se hayan percatado o le hayan hecho ese comentario.
Maybe not to all of you that comment was made.
Y en estos momentos todavía están, como le dije anteriormente,
In this moment, Like I said earlier,
En estos momentos todavía están
in this moment,
esos latones verdes en la calle.
there are still green bins in the street.
Entre las llamadas que yo hice,
Between the calls that I've made,
una de las personas, después que yo le dije lo que iba a tratar esta noche aquí,
from what I said, what was going to happen tonight,
esa misma persona anteriormente
that same person
me dijo que no tenía nada que ver con eso. La persona, no quiero decir nombres, que vaya,
that person told me they had nothing to do with what I was calling about.
me dirigió a otro teléfono. Nadie
They directed me to another department.
me dio información correcta.
Nobody gave me the correct information.
En una de las del regreso de esas llamadas,
And one of those returns of calls,
la misma persona que hablé yo primeramente,
the first person that I spoke to
tampoco me pudo explicar nada.
also was unable to explain.
Le di las gracias,
I thanked her.
cortamos la comunicación y
We
no,
cut the conversation.
no habían pasado 20 minutos.
20 minutes did not pass.
Un señor me estaba llamando.
A gentleman was giving me a call.
Por coincidencia,
By coincidentally,
ese señor, el nombre,
that gentleman, the name,
es el mismo nombre del señor, del alcalde.
that same name is the mayor's name.
¿Ok? En ese momento, rápidamente yo dije, tan rápido el alcalde llamándome aquí. Yo, dígame, señor, que puedo servirlo.
I said, so fast, the mayor's calling me.
No era usted mayor.
It was not you, mayor.
Ese señor aparentemente
That gentleman
es dueño o trabaja para la compañía de Recycle.
is the owner and works for the recycle company.
Ese señor me dijo, yo llevo 65 años, no sé si
That
nació,
gentleman told me I have 65 years.
no sé si es que nació aquí o vino para aquí pequeño.
Do not know if he was born here or came here as a young child.
Y la explicación que me dio fue la siguiente.
The explanation he gave me was the following.
En el año hay diferentes meses.
In the year, there's different months.
Le da un poquito más de tiempo porque ella le está traduciendo,
Yo,
pero
yo entiendo, yo sé
ok.
la situación, pero es bien importante.
sí. Lo que trate de...
Bueno, sí, pero que
Ok,
no quiero perderla, por
yo
eso es
sí,
que,
dale,
ok.
dale.
Y él me dijo que
He told me
coincidía que en diferentes meses
in
había
different months,
un quinto jueves
there was one fifth Thursday
que no había recogida y el contrato
that there was no pickup and the contract
con la ciudad
with the city of Hialeah,
era de 4 veces.
it was for 4 times.
Punto. Yo no pude discutir ni nada.
I
Sí.
couldn't discuss or anything.
Yo sé que es un problema administrativo,
I know it's a administration problem,
pero no quisiera.
but I don't want to.
Y me dijo que iban a estar
He told me I was going to
hasta la semana que viene,
until this upcoming week,
15 días,
15 days,
la gente mirando y comentando y
the
hablando
people looking and commenting
cosas de la
Thank-
ciudad.
things of the city.
Discúlpeme, yo sé que es un
I
problema
apologize.
administrativo, pero tengo que ver si vengo
I need to see if I come,
aquí a hablar bien de la ciudad,
if I speak good about the city,
bien de la fuerza que custodian la ciudad y que
good of
ayudan.
the force.
No puedo omitir que vayan a decir,
I cannot permit
mira, este viejo viene siempre aquí a hablar bien de la ciudad. Dilo.
that this old man will be speaking bad of the city,
Y cuando tiene que decir algo, se lo
And-
traga.
and when he has to say something, he's gonna swallow it.
Bueno, hasta ahí ya es problema. Antes de terminar, no,
Sí.
tengo otro
no,
punto súper importante.
One more thing,
Alcalde, por favor,
Mayor, please,
¿cuándo podría ser?
when can it be?
No en qué año, sino en qué día usted
Not in
pueda-
what year, but in what day,
tratar que me dé 15 o 20 minutos de su tiempo.
that I can have 15 to 20 minutes of your time.
¿Es posible?
Is it possible?
Sí, por supuesto. Si te pones en contacto, mira, con la muchachita vestida de negro, no que estaba vestida de luto, pero con la muchachita que está ahí, ella te puede hacer la cita.
Ok, el último comentario,
The last
discúlpeme.
comment,
I
I
promise
apologize.
I won't be here until the 2 or 3 months, next 2 or 3 months. I'm sorry, but give me the last chance. Lo otro que quiero decir, le doy tremendas felicitaciones
I congratulate
a las personas que hicieron el trabajo
to the people who did the job
y a ustedes
and
Porque él
yourselves.
porque es el deber y la obligación
It's the obligation
de resolver los problemas que tiene la ciudad,
to resolve the problems the city,
específicamente
specifically
por varios meses
for various months,
estuvo la 9 calle
the
Desde-
9th Street
desde las 6 avenidas
from 6th
a las
Avenue
4 avenidas del
to 4th
East,
Avenue of East,
producto de una edificación
products
de algún trabajo que estaban haciendo
of some job they were
bien
doing.
deteriorada. Pasé el trabajo 2:45 de la mañana,
Passed to my job at 4 in the morning
cuando estaban preparando
when they were preparing.
el asfalto, medí para estar bien seguro de lo que iba a hablar. El trabajo
The job
totalmente bien con el código,
totally correct with the code,
no asfalto reciclado,
no asphalt recycled,
que en muchas ocasiones hace tiempo
that in many occasions a long time ago,
lo cobraban como bueno y ponían reciclado. Y
they
eso,
would put it in recycle.
y eso lo sabe todo el mundo. En este momento
And everyone knows that in this moment.
quise estar seguro,
Wanted to be sure in this moment,
100%, que el trabajo hacía
100%,
había estado bien hecho y con la calidad de material que era
wanted to
necesario.
make sure it was 100% correct and with the good quality.
Muchas gracias por el extra tiempo que me dieron.
No,
Thank you so
gracias a
much for your
usted, que Yo
time.
sé que usted siempre viene a hablar bien de la ciudad. Do we have anyone else here in the chambers with comments and questions? No? Okay. Moving on to announcements of amendments, corrections to agenda.
Consent items N and O have been added to today's agenda. Items PZ5, PZ6, and PZ7 are postponed until May 9th, 2023. And the proposed ordinances for administrative item 11B, PZ3, and LU2 have been amended.
Board appointments.
None.
Moving on to consent agenda. Do we have anyone that wants to put an item?
Through the chair,
You're recognized.
item E.
E.
Got a motion? And a second?
So we have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz, Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The consent agenda has passed except item E.
Item E.
Request permission to issue a purchase order to Green Alliance Incorporated, vendor providing the lowest quotation in response to City of Hialeah request for quotation number 2022-23-3130-00026, Goodlet Dog Park, for the construction of a chain link fence at Goodlet Park in a new off-leash dog-friendly park in a total amount of $29,390.82. And further request a contingency in the amount of $2,939.09 to cover any unforeseen issues that may arise during the work in a total cumulative expense amount not to exceed $32,330. The approval of this item requires the waiving of competitive bidding, since it is advantageous to the city in that the cost of competitively bidding the project would have exceeded the amount that was quoted to the city by the vendor. The funding for the expenditure is to be withdrawn from the Park Recreation and Open Space Fund, Capital Outlay, Infrastructure Account Number 342-3130-572-630.
Councilmember Calvo, you're recognized.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to highlight this, Mayor. I think this is a job well done, much needed in our city. I'm glad that we're able to get this first park operational. Do you know more or less what the estimated completion date is?
Well, William's out there, but thank you for your words. I think this is something that come up with. I think this is something that we've all heard from residents in our community. All of us would have to take our pets usually to Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, we'll take them to Miami Springs myself.
Exactly. So I think this is something that was probably a long time in coming. And one of the first things I talked to William about when we hired him as a director of parks was that we wanted to see dog parks in the city. So kudos to him and his staff. And there's a question on timing.
We're hoping to, when William Sanchez, Parks Director, 900 East 56th Street. We're hoping to have it completed by end of the summer,
Okay,
the whole project, including the track. So we're working with the streets department to repave the track and connect the whole campus. So the whole campus can be walkable
understood.
from the adult center to the, performing arts building to the rec building.
No, and
Everything's gonna be
and
connected.
And I saw the new volleyball nets gone up. So good, it's definitely looking a lot nicer for sure.
We're working as fast as we can. We're wrapping up at Babcock Park now. We're working closely with the streets department too. We're gonna plant approximately 70 more trees at Babcock Park. Painting's going on. All the buildings gonna be the same color. There was a mismatch there for many years. So we're making a difference, and this is a team effort beyond Parks and Rec. We're all working together, which is a beautiful thing to see.
I'm super excited for this, and I'll definitely take my dogs whenever it opens up. So
And there's other surprises too coming along the way for dog parks. So stay
understood.
tuned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir. Thank you for your support. Thank you, council and mayor.
it. Motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Calvo and a second by Councilmember Casares Munoz. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robles.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
motion carries. The item is approved.
Okay, moving on to administrative items. Item 11A.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance approving the release of a public utility easement traversing land located at 4935 East First Avenue, 125 East 49th Street, and 145 East 49th Street, all in Hialeah, Florida. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on second reading. Would anyone like to comment on this item? Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Casares Munoz. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a.
I believe.
He did? Oh, I can hear you. Okay, sorry. We have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz. Ms. Garcia Robles.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
motion carries. The item is approved.
Item 11B.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, entitled Administration, Article 7, City Property, Section 2-901, Disposal of Scrap, Surplus, Confiscated, Abandoned, Unclaimed Property, to permit a retired City of Hialeah law enforcement officer who is qualified to possess or carry a firearm to retain their firearm at the time of their retirement, and permit a retired handler of a City of Hialeah police canine to retain their canine at the time of their retirement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is also on second reading. Would anyone like to comment on this item?
Huge value. Motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Zogby and we have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Absolutely.
Ms. Garcia Robles.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Moving on to 11C.
First reading of proposed ordinance accepting the dedication of land improved with a pump station of approximately 3,331 square feet as depicted in the surveyor's sketch attached as Exhibit A, subject to and approving the terms of the quitclaim deed attaches attachment 1 from Two Lakes Lennar LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on first reading. It's not open for discussion, but does anyone in the council? No, do we have a motion?
Having none motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zogby.
Second.
And I have a second by Councilmember Gonzalez Munoz. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yeah.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Item 11D.
First reading of proposed ordinance approving the fourth renewal beginning June 23rd, 2023 through August 19th, 2028 with T-Mobile USA Tower LLC, a Delaware limited liability company by and through CCTMO LLC, a Delaware limited liability company of the ground lease for the 95-foot monopole communications tower that commenced on August 20th, 2003 for a base annual rent of $45,023.68 and annual increases of 4% each year at Babcock Park, located at 651 East Fourth Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, and renewing the First Amendment and memorandum of the original ground lease, each dated January 10th, 2019, setting a generator to power the T-Mobile communications antennas in the event of a power outage and providing for antenna improvements and modifications for an additional monthly rent of $300, copies of which are attached hereto and made a part hereof respectively as exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is also on first reading. It's not open for discussion, but it is for the council. Do we have a discussion? We have a motion by
And
Councilmember
second.
Gonzalez Munoz, and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Okay, moving on to unfinished business. Do we have any new business? No. So moving on to zoning.
Wait, before we
Oh.
go into that, first of all, Madam Vice President, Acting President, I want to congratulate you on, I don't know if you've run a meeting before, but
Yeah.
oh, good. Well, this was my first time sitting here and you're running the meeting. Outstanding. Good job.
Thank
Also
you.
want to acknowledge that Councilman Cabo now is a lawyer, officially is a lawyer.
Mhm.
Congratulations on passing the bar. Do we have to call you doctor? Okay. Very good. Well, congratulations and kudos to your family. I know it's a whole support system. Members, I do want to just kind of give you a heads up that we're going to be bringing some stuff in the future that deals with RVs being parked at folks' homes and being used as rental property. We had some discussions today. We're collecting some data. And it's something that, it came to mind when Frankie came up and was talking about the reoccupancy ordinance. I was here and I voted for the reoccupancy ordinance, and I remember why we had the conversation. You had the issues with the efficiencies, and you had people buying a home in the city, getting violated, and then the argument was, well, I bought it like this, right? And this was a constant frustration. And at that time, it was the administration's approach to try to address this issue. This is a different animal though. Okay, the RVs being parked at people's homes and being used as rental properties is not a development model for the city of Hialeah. And it should not be contemplated in the long-term vision of the city. I've had some discussions. We're going to look at what other cities are doing, what the county allows us to do. But I think we need to look at this aggressively And we're, like I said, we're collecting some data because I believe that there's many, residents that are subsidizing services and garbage pickup, for example, police, fire, for folks that are living in RVs, wedged, between homes at times, sometimes more than one, parked in front of homes. I mean, this is something that I think we need to address, and we need to address it now. Because if it goes unchecked, and if we just, turn the other cheek, not that we are, and I know that our code folks go out to police them as best they can, but if you allow it to just continue unchecked, then it becomes another menu of people's income. To then try to take that away, then becomes very problematic. But we want to address this. We don't want to ignore it. Residents have been now talking to me about it. I want you to know this is not a Hialeah only issue. I was down south this weekend for Easter family gathering, and they're in anywhere that you could stick an RV, people are doing it and renting it. So I just want to forewarn you, if you have some thoughts on it, obviously, share with us what you may think and what you're hearing, but we're going to try to address this, and we're going to try to address this aggressively as possible, and not to allow this. We allow people to have an RV for recreational purposes. We get it. We understand that. But some are now using the, this gesture of support and kindness, what have you, whatever you want to call it. And they're using it now to take full abuse of it. And I'm telling you, it can't go on. It devalues homes, it's destroying neighborhoods. And so we're gonna bring some stuff in the next couple of, we're doing some data now, but we hope to come to you with some information to aggressively address this. And, we'll let you guys look at it, get your opinions on it, but we want to attack this issue before it gets totally out of hand.
Mayor, I
Okay.
can tell you that 10% of my phone, not 10, 20% of the phone calls I'm receiving is that complaint. So just FYI, as we go forward with this, people are not happy about it.
Go have dinner. Fun, yeah. Okay, so so everyone that's gonna be doing or have anyone who has any zoning items that we would like for you to stand up to administer the oath. Yeah, the oath.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
¿Usted jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad, toda la verdad y únicamente la verdad y que Dios sea su testigo? Por favor, diga que sí si la respuesta es afirmativa.
Let the record reflect that all have responded in the affirmative.
En el archivo público constará que todos han respondido afirmativamente.
Okay, so we're moving on to zoning, but before that, I have a request to skip over for a second and bump up LU4. Is anyone opposed with doing that? LU4, and then we'll move back to zoning.
First reading of proposed ordinance, amending the future land use map from low density residential to medium density residential. Properties located at 455 West 25th Street and 555 West 25th Street, Hialeah zoned R31, multiple family district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening, council members. Alejandro Arias, 701 Brickell Avenue. I believe I have a brief presentation. It's a PowerPoint.
The one I just gave you for me.
Yeah.
We're the same.
Yeah.
We're the same, but.
I will hopefully be much. briefer.
No.
Oh, you're for-
If there's an issue with the PowerPoint, we can just play the video and then I'll get into the presentation after.
That's where we still have one.
Thank you. Good evening once again, Alejandro Arias, 701 Brickell Avenue. Go to the next slide, please. Sure, all of you are familiar with this organization. Since its establishment by the Hialeah City Council in 1967, the Hialeah Housing Authority has been dedicated to providing this community with quality, affordable housing. It currently provides housing assistance to over 5,000 eligible low-income families throughout the city, and also an important part of the social services network throughout the city. The subject property is approximately 7 acres, is situated just west of Red Road between West 25th Street and West 26th Street, key thoroughfares of the city. Next slide, please. Next slide. There, thank you. The property, a residential subdivision known as the Donald F. Scott Residential Villas, is currently improved with approximately 50 residences that were originally built in 1971. Next slide, please. The subject property has a land use designation of residential low density, and given its location and the older inventory on the property, the applicant is evaluating future needs for low income residents. Next slide. As such, we are here tonight in order to redesignate the property to the medium density residential land use category. It's imperative to state that this truly is an initiative that's being undertaken for future planning purposes. There's no definitive or immediate plan to redevelop this site in the near future. This truly is a 3 to 5 year horizon from which to start. This is just the first step required in order to be able to obtain the necessary elements to eventually undertake the development. It will enable an Hialeah Housing Authority to get the financing that's required, getting all the ducks in a row to then proceed. But at the time that they're ready and they actually have a tangible development program, we will come before this board with the development program, with a formal rezoning request. At this stage, it is just step 1 of the process, which is the land use amendment process. Again, I'd just like to highlight that there's no immediate intention of demolishing or displacing anyone with respect to the housing that's there today. And furthermore, in the future, as was done for the recently approved Hoffman Gardens project, existing residents will not be displaced prior to the HHA finding them a suitable relocation and appropriate housing while the redevelopment is being undertaken, and then they will have the ability to come back to a brand new product type. Next slide. Ultimately, this request is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the city's comprehensive master plan, and will serve the HHA's noble mission to provide greater housing stock and quality housing opportunities, which will be readily accessible to employment centers and public transportation. As such, we respectfully request your recommendation of approval and are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Through the chair.
You recognize?
Of course, I'm going to approve this and thank you. Thank you, Alex, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mr. Ponce, for always maximizing what we've got available. You've been doing a great job so far. Thank you. This is a great, great concept and much needed. Motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zogby and I have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Mr. Calvo. He has stepped away. Ms. Casal Munoz.
He's gone.
Ms. Garcia Robis.
Yes.
Oh, he's left the
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council members.
Have a good night. Okay, so going back to zoning, yes. Bonds, turn on your mic.
Hans, you should have let your daughter make at least a very brief presentation. She's there.
First time she's in the group.
I know. Very, very cool. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, going back to planning and zoning to PZ one.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a variance permit to allow 32 parking spaces where 65 parking spaces are required. Contrary to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-2189, subsection 7. Property located at 7963 West 28th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned M1, Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on second reading. It's open for public discussion. Do we have anyone online? Or anyone in the chambers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez. Do we have a second?
Before we have a second, Deborah I'm sorry, through the chair.
Want to refresh your memory on the item?
Eh?
Do you want to refresh your memory on the item?
Is in PC one?
Yeah, PZ one.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to speak with Deborah about it because her recommendation is denial.
Yes.
So I'm curious.
Well, the applicant was here last week. This is an industrial development that had 10 extra parking spaces, so it could allow some commercial uses, but most of the bays there are commercial, so that's why this parking variance is required. And he's one of the ones that was given that that occupational license without DERM approval, so he's trying to fix everything. And to be able to have a barber shop that he has there, he needs this variance that is for the whole shopping center, but is for him to be able to legalize the barber shop that he has there without permit.
Okay, and you're still
My
with-
recommendation was denial because
Originally.
this is an industrial property. The uses should be mostly industrial.
correct.
If we allow all the industrial properties to have commercial uses, then
Agreed.
there's no parking. He came here, he explained, one of the council members says, I want no restrictions because the planning and zoning board recommended approval with some restrictions, restrict the number of barber shops or restrict the hours of operation. Well, it was voted without restrictions, so that this is the second reading for that, to
Yeah.
allow that without any restriction.
He has a barber shop and a shoe shop.
Yes. And
Okay.
we, and the planning and zoning board recommended with at least have only one barber shop and then you schedule the appointments. He doesn't.
The seat.
Yeah, there's no limit now. He can have there the number of barber shops that he
Not shops,
he
seats.
wants.
The
Seats,
barber
yeah.
seats, yeah.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
You're recognized.
Are you done?
No, go
I
ahead.
just
go
wanted
ahead,
to
yeah.
comment
Thank
to
you.
that. I spoke to some of the neighbors who I know in his industrial area. They all like him. They all get along. They don't have a problem with him, but he's extremely popular. He doesn't have one customer at a time. He is extremely popular cutting hair. And sometimes he takes more time than he should. So they stack up. He does make appointments, but he's very detailed with his customers. That's why they like him. So they stack up. So I want to give him a chance, but unrestricted is a problem because if he gets any more popular, because he's extremely popular.
And then also
apparently.
you said the present for the next barber shop that will go there.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
now it's him, if he then sells the business to someone else, instead of doing what he does that sales online and the barber shop, this can be a full-blown barber shop and then the parking. There's a restaurant there, a gym, there are many,
Mhm.
many type of activities that require lots of parking.
And this is an industrial area.
It's an industrial area and.
So we're not
industrial
trying to
property.
change the zoning of the
No, no.
industrial.
No,
just
but
the
to have
use.
commercial uses require 5 times more parking spaces than industrial uses.
Okay.
So we're giving a parking variance to the whole shopping center.
Is he renting or it says building?
He's renting.
He's renting. Okay.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Can we vote on, can we restrict it at this point, Deborah? Can we go back to, what was your recommendation? Was it 2 chairs? I forget. I know one you preferred, but was it 2?
The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with the condition that the operation of restrictions be proffered, setting the number of employees and a single barber present at the location to be set by appointment. That was the
One
recommendation.
single barber.
Yeah, one single barber. Well,
Does he have an attorney
no,
or anybody representing him?
no. He even came to the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. He agreed with the conditions, but then when the law department contacted him, he didn't understood well what happened in Planning and Zoning Board, so he came here and said that he don't want any restrictions.
So through the chair, so you finished on? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what-
yes.
What Zogby saying is absolutely, so then, what gives them the right to get all the parking, and everybody else, when it comes down to it. So that's why I have a challenge with it. So I just took my 2 cents.
I don't want to put him out of business, but
Yeah.
we need to restrict it.
And then realistically, I mean, you guys have a suggestion, but realistically, one bar, one at a time, he's not gonna make. He needs to have his customers there.
I could live with 2 maybe, but 2 chairs.
Here it says one single barber present at the location to be set by appointment. He can have 3 barbers that come
Yeah,
at different
yeah.
hours, make different appointments, but no more than one can be at that location.
But how is he gonna make
He-
money if it's
he
only,
ha-
one
he
barber,
has-
one
One
client at a time?
1,000 square feet. 1,000 square feet requires for industrial 1 parking space. For commercial, 5 parking spaces. If he's running the sneakers business, well, 1 person, he will be there for that. And then you will have the barber shop taking care of 1 person and another person maybe waiting for the barber shop. There you have already 3 cars, and in the total allocation, he
Okay.
has 1 car.
We have a first, has anybody second?
But
Nobody
without
else.
restriction, the same as last,
Well, what I'm saying
Madam
is,
President?
I'm asking if.
is it the same? Yeah, no, I don't, who's the second? Somebody-
Nobody
second.
I said
No.
nobody has second, so I would like to make a motion to deny.
If we deny, can we give him anything? Deny would be a denial completely, right?
Can you
Yeah.
amend what was proposed at the first?
Yes.
reading? You can amend.
Can we do that? Because a denial would
Instead
be
of
what?
denying.
No barber, right? At this point would be
Yeah,
no
yeah.
barber
Yeah, yeah,
business.
yeah.
A denial?
And he has
Can he
been
keep going?
trying to legalize this for years because everything
years?
comes,
Yeah.
because everything comes very slowly.
For
So,
years?
For
He's been paying rent?
4 years, yeah, well, because he.
But he's been doing business.
He doesn't have the license, he doesn't have the permit, but he continues running the business. So he's trying to legalize what he has there.
So the shoe store is all business online. Nobody goes to purchase at the place.
Well, they go, sometimes they go, they pick up the sneakers, something
do go.
happens there. It's not that he has customers doing a line, but if he sells something and someone can
If
go
it's
pick
online, how
up.
do
He
we get
receives
the-
the merchandise, somehow needs to get there, so there's some activity.
So do you guys?
So he has 1,000 square feet in an industrial area that he has 1 barber chair, and then he has a shoe.
He has more than
Sneaker.
1 barber chair. We restricted him to having only 1.
Okay, so he has, how many does he have now?
No, I don't know, I really don't. know.
Does anybody know?
Because first he presented a plan with 4, then he presented a plan with 2, but I really don't.
So let's assume
Well,
2. Let's
and he-
assume 2.
And he still needs to pull the permits, so when he pulls the permits there with he will officialize.
So in the 1,000 square footage, he has the 2 chairs, let's say.
Yeah.
And then he has a sneaker business that's online only, but they could go and pick it up there, but it's
Yes.
on online.
Yes.
But he has his merchandise there in the 1,000 square feet.
Mhm.
And he's been there for how long?
Almost 40.
Well, before the pandemic, yes, for a while, yes.
Mhm.
Right, so let's put the restriction. What were you thinking?
I would vote with that, with the original restriction Deborah recommended.
1 barber chair or 2?
I would That was the one?
Yeah, and it wasn't me, it was the planning and zoning board that they discussed and they came out.
We're not
They,
gonna
they,
make.
they agreed to one?
They agreed to one, yes.
Okay.
A single
Do you
barber
want
present at the
Do you want
location.
to? We're here. We override what they want. Do you want to?
I wouldn't have a problem giving them another chair, up to two. If everybody else, I'm okay with
No,
that.
your motion,
Yeah,
your,
but-
right.
Your motion is for two,
Not, yes.
for one,
No,
two?
no, no, originally was a motion of denial, but
79.
that motion is only in place, right? There's no second, so we can overturn. it.
There's a, what,
There's a
you're
motion.
suggesting two? So
We could
can
do
we,
two
can we
and-
make a motion for two? Are we allowed to do that now?
Well, I think we can. I think
Okay,
that's why.
I motion for two,
You motion.
a
for two.
restriction of no more than two.
No more than two. So it's two
That's-
barber chairs, two
Yes,
barbers
two
at the
barber
same
chairs,
time.
two barber
barbers at the
stations.
same time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
And has he had problems with the neighbors? Like, has the neighbors complained?
No.
They like him.
No,
They
like
they
him?
like him a lot. They do. I.
Yeah.
He
How-
submitted
how they
letters
were-
from his
how
neighbors
they
in the
were
last meeting.
complaining,
to
they
him about
They're
the
not
same
gonna say
problem.
anything
They have
anyway.
the same
They
problem.
have the same problem. Yeah. Okay. All right. So two chairs, two barbers at the same time and his online sneaker business.
Yeah, and the visit to the barber by appointment.
And the visit by appointment. Right. So
Okay.
not like Vivian that just shows up.
So we have a motion with the amendment of the two
Right.
pairs with two barbers,
Motion.
appointments
sneaker
online, the sneaker business. And then we have a second by
Oh, me. Okay. He motioned, I second.
Council Member Casales Munoz. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casal Munoz,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Two chairs.
Motion carries. The item is approved as amended.
Okay, so we're moving on to PZ two, but LU one needs to be considered prior to the consideration of PZ two. So we're moving on to LU one.
What happened? Oh, okay.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from industrial district to transit oriented development district. Property located at 2691 East 11th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned M1, industrial district. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Okay, so this item is on second reading. It's open for public discussion and council discussion. Do we have anyone online?
Through the chair.
You're recognized?
This is our flagship project there at the Tri-Rail Station.
Yep.
So in advance, of course, I'm gonna approve this. We need this. Motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion by Council Member Zogby and a second by Council Member Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Absolutely.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Okay, now going back to PZ two.
Vamos como unos locos aquí.
Back and forth.
Back and forth.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from M1 Industrial District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District and granting a variance permit to allow a front setback of 5 feet where 0 feet is required along East 11th Avenue, contrary to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Section 98-1544, subsection 3I, property located at 2691 East 11th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Okay, but this
Second.
item is on second reading. It's open for public discussion. Do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Anyone in the chambers? So we have a motion. Who was it?
Second.
No,
And
no, oh,
Vivian.
by Councilmember Gonzalez Munoz. And we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Okay. Thank you.
Congrats.
So we're moving on to PZ three, but we'd have to read LU two first. So on to LU two.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from low density residential district to transit oriented development district. Properties located at 901 East 26th Street, 911 East 26th Street, 921 East 26th Street, 931 East 26th Street, 941 East 26th Street, 951 East 26th Street, 961 East 26th Street, 971 East 26th Street, 983 East 26th Street, 906 East 27th Street, 910 East 27th Street, 912 East 27th Street, 922 East 27th Street, 932 East 27th Street, 950 East 27th Street, 962 East 27th Street, 984 East 27th Street, and 990 East 27th Street. Hialeah zoned R1, one family district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Can you repeat that?
Okay. So this item is on second reading. We know that the city clerk is happy about that. It's open for public discussion. Do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Motion to approve.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Casals Munoz. Do we have a second? We have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Moving back to PZ three.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from R1, one family district to TOD, Transit Oriented Development District, granting a variance permit to allow a single-use multifamily residential building where a vertical mix of uses is required. Properties are located at 901 East 26th Street, 911 East 26th Street, 921 East 26th Street, 931 East 26th Street, 941 East 26th Street, 951 East 26th Street, 961 East 26th Street, 971 East 26th Street, 983 East 26th Street, 906 East 27th Street, 910 East 27th Street, 912 East 27th Street, 922 East 27th Street, 932 East 27th Street, 950 East 27th Street, 962 East 27th Street, 984 East 27th Street, and 990 East 27th Street. Hialeah zoned R1, one family district. Contra to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1630.1, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is also on second reading. It's open for public discussion. Do we have any online?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by
And
Councilmember Casals Munoz, and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congrats.
All right.
Moving on to PZ four.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1630.8, granting a variance permit to allow 40 residential units with an area ranging from 620 to 693 square feet, where 850 square feet is the minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area less than 850 square feet, and a variance to waive the building mass and frontage development standards. Contra to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, sections 98-1630.2 and 98-1630.2, subsection C and D. Property located at 3875 West 16th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
This item is on second reading. It's open for public discussion. Do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Anyone in the chambers? Hi, how are you?
How are you, Madam Vice President? Javi Vasquez, 1450 Brickell Avenue. This item's here on second reading. I'm happy to make another presentation, but would
Motion to approve.
Second.
So, well, there's three motions now. So I have a motion by Councilmember Casals Munoz and a second
From Lewis.
from Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
I'd like to ask Vivian why you didn't say absolutely like you just did.
Yeah, right.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, so we are moving on to PZ eight.
Z8.
Yes, because item PZ five,
Yep.
PZ six and seven are postponed.
Yep.
Where are we going?
PZ eight.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay Pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1630.8, granting a variance permit to allow 12 residential units with an area ranging from 735 to 737 square feet, where 850 square feet is the minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area less than 850 square feet. Allow a 4.5 feet front setback where 10 feet built to line are required. Allow 22 parking spaces where 41 parking spaces are required. And a variance to waive the building mass and frontage development standards, contra to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, sections 98-1630.2, 98-1630.3, subsection E1, 98-2189, subsection 16A, and 98-1630.2, subsection C and D. Property located at 250 East 9th Street, folio number 043118-006-0780, 04333118-006-0790, Hialeah Zone CR, Commercial Residential District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on second reading and it's open for public discussion. Do we have anyone online?
Motion. And second.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, moving on to PZ 9. LU 3 needs to be read before, so moving on to LU 3.
First reading of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from industrial district to transit-oriented development district. Property located at 1145 East 24th Street, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. This item is on first reading, so it's not open for public discussion, but it is for the council.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Casals Munoz.
Second, you want
And
to? Good.
is everyone good or anybody have a question? You have a question?
I'm good. Second.
You
No,
look confused.
I'm looking at Councilmember Zogby.
No, another nice development
Okay,
here.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So we have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Do we have a time? Okay, yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Okay, now going back to PZ 9.
First reading of proposed ordinance rezoning property from M1 Industrial District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. Properties located at 1140 East 25th Street, 1145 East 24th Street, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on first reading. It's not open for public discussion.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Casals Munoz. Do we have a second?
Just one moment through the chair.
You recognize?
Deborah, it seems like, I know you gentlemen are here. We're pretty good with the parking, huh? The 217, they got 204, they're gonna
yeah.
mitigate 13 others.
No
We're gonna-
variances, it's just the rezoning. The land use, they already came before you a couple of months ago, and now they acquire another lot in the back because that front is too narrow to be able to access the parking from that side. So that was the land use for that, and now they are rezoning the whole property. They have a presentation, you have the drawings, if you want to see them on the screen.
Do you want to see?
Did they spend a lot of money preparing this presentation? I second the motion. It was all in vain.
We have a second by
I see
Councilmember
the
Zogby.
paperwork.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night. Moving on to PZ 10.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a variance permit to allow 3 parking spaces where 16 parking spaces are required. Allow backup parking in a commercial area where backup parking is only allowed in low-density residential. And allow a waiver of landscape requirements contrary to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-2189, subsection 15, 98-2190, and City of Hialeah Landscape Manual. Latest edition dated July 9th, 2015. Property located at 242 West 23rd Street, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on first reading. It's not open for public discussion. Do we have any in the? Is the applicant here?
When the applicant came to the planning and zoning board, this is basically a lab that only has 2 employees. And what they do is they test food. So the samples for the food come through the mail. And they receive that, and then it's a whole process that 1 or 2 persons do there in that lab. They purchased this building, they demolished, or they are proposing to demolish a part in the front, so they are doing more parking than what it was there, and they really need only 2 or 3 parking spaces. And this is what they are providing.
And this is on 23rd Street,
Yes.
between 2nd and 3rd.
It's near Cano, right? Isn't Cano or Colonia, one of the clinics are there, right?
That's, well, 23rd is where.
Yeah.
Crosses through.
Yeah, I believe, yeah. Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Zogby and we have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Ms. Casam Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robles?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Moving on to PZ 11.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1630.8, to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay for the development of 45 residential units with an area ranging from 504 to 711 square feet, where 850 square feet is a minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area less than 850 square feet. Allow front setback of 0 feet per stoops encroaching into the front setback along East 10th Avenue, where 10 feet built to line is required, and allow to waive the building mass and building frontage development standards, all contrary to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, sections 98-1630.2, 98-1630.3, subsections C and D, and 98-1630.3, subsection E1. Property located at 455 East 10th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
This item is on first reading. It's not open for public discussion. I see Cesar Mestre.
Good evening, Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida. We have a small presentation. With me today is Danny Alonso. He's the architect and he's online. Also here today in the chambers is Emmanuel Perez, one of the owners. This is a, I'm sorry?
We're all looking back to see which one he
He's
is.
Not the
there.
gray haired
He's there.
man.
He said hi.
Next to the gray hair.
Yeah, and to the older he's next to the older gentleman.
I believe he's kidnapped by the gentleman next to him. This is a warehouse property that was built in 1959. It's presently a window and a glass fabricating place. This is the lot here. You can see it's on the corner of East 10th Avenue and Southeast 4th Street. Next slide. This is the aerial. It shows you that all the properties to the east are industrial. Next slide. This is what we're proposing, and I hope this is as well received as it was at P&Z and by staff. We worked diligently, and the architect will tell you, to make sure that it was located away from the residential properties across the street. So what he came up with was 6 townhouses are actually what face the residences across the street. And then the tower is located to the back towards the warehouses away from the residential. It's a total of 8 floors. We have plenty of parking. We have a total of 51 units if you count the townhouses plus the apartments. We have 5 studios, 4 lofts, 25 one-bedrooms, and 17 two-bedrooms. And we have 120 parking spaces, so we have plenty of parking. There's amenities such as a common area clubhouse, a lobby. There's a fitness center, conference rooms, and the architect will be more than happy to go ahead and explain a little bit more about that. There was a recommendation of approval from P&Z, and it was with conditions. The conditions are, there's a road located just south of the property, which actually has a road, but we found out it's never been dedicated and the property's never been platted. So we're willing to accept those conditions. And I would like the architect, Danny Alonso, to make his presentation at this time. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. And you can go through the rest of the slides, but I think Danny Alonso is going to share his screen and he'll go into a little more detail about that.
It's very pretty. I like the color.
Danny, are you there?
I am. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think he's going to share screen. So you can take that one off, yeah.
All right, just want to make sure everybody can hear me and see my screen. No. I'm sorry, can you guys hear me? Hello. I'm not sure if you guys could hear me or see my screen. Can I?
He's unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Well, if we can't hear him, and I know he's just going to go into more details with the building, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We're willing to accept the conditions. We'd ask you for a approval on this project.
Motion to approve.
And second,
We have a motion by Councilmember Casas Munoz, and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
yes.
Ms. Casas Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April 25th, 2023.
Through
Thank
the
you.
chair.
Yes, you're recognized.
Caesar, we have that sent to us so we could look at the slides?
The one that he was going to?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll ask
okay.
him to send it to me
Thank you.
tomorrow and I'll send it to the clerk.
Thank you. Just so we could look at it. It looks very, very nice. Yeah, I don't get those. I'm looking here. Got a little spoiled.
She's modernized. Moving on
Who
to
would've thought?
PZ 12.
Me of all people. I'll get them. They're probably in my box.
First reading of proposed ordinance approving a final plat of West Avenue subdivision, accepting all dedication of avenues, streets, roads, or other public ways, together with all existing and future planting of trees. Property consisting of approximately 22,537 acres for track A and 5.108 acres for track B, bounded on the north by West 76th Street, on the west by West 6th Avenue, on the south by West 71st Street, and West 72nd Street, on the east by West 4th Avenue, zoned R33, multiple family district. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith,
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Gonzalez Munoz, and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casaw Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yeah.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April twenty-fifth, 2023.
Thank you. Alex Uribe with office at 2800 Ponce de Leon Boulevard for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Great presentation.
Good
Awesome.
night. Moving on. Moving on to LU 6.
First reading of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from low-density residential district to commercial district. Property located at 383 West 35th Street, Hialeah, zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residential district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on first reading. It's not open for public discussion, but it is open for the council.
Motion, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Gonzalez Munoz, and we have a second
Okay,
by
wait,
Give
Council.
me the second.
It has a recommendation of denial. Do we have to, oh, it's a recommendation, okay.
So we have a Are you good?
Yeah.
We have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Casaw Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for April twenty-fifth, 2023.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Moving on to final decisions. FD 1.
Proposed resolution approving the final decision of the Planning and Zoning Board, decision number 2023-03, granting an adjustment on the property located at 7821 West 15th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned R1, 1 family district, and providing for an effective date.
So we have, okay,
Motion to approve?
okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Casas Munoz. Do we have a second?
Yes.
You second?
Yes.
Yes, second, second.
And we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. See, I gave it to him. You took too long.
There you go.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Ms. Casaw Munoz.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Moving on to FD 2.
Proposed resolution approving the final decision of the Planning and Zoning Board, decision number 2023-04, granting R1, 1 family district, and providing for an effective date.
Through the chair.
You're recognized.
Deborah, could you let me know what the conditions are, please? I apologize.
That they need to remove concrete and provide a 30% required pervious area.
They need to,
To remove concrete pavement, that they
Concrete
have to
pavement.
provide the 30% impervious area. that
and
is
you're okay
required.
with that? ¿Usted entiende eso?
La condición es que tiene, sí, sí.
Okay, okay, motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Casas Munoz, and we have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Ms. Casaw Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Okay, moving on
Buenas
to
noches.
council discussion.
Gracias.
Buenas noches.
Through the chair.
You're recognized.
One of the questions that that Frank de la Paz brought up here at the beginning is something that we really should revisit.
think so.
When they approved this, back when Steve was sitting on the council, I remember that I spoke and I said that I didn't think that what we were doing is correct for the purchasers because they were under the impression, North Miami was the first one that did the reoccupancy, and they did the reoccupancy. They would check the roof, the electricity, the plumbing, and they would check everything in the house, and they would let the owners know what the deficiencies are, and they would give them a time frame that they had for them to fix those deficiencies. So when we did what we did, based on the efficiencies, people thought that that was the same thing that they had done in North Miami, because they were the first ones that did the reoccupancy. And I think that causes a lot of confusion and a lot of, let's look this way, let's not look that way, depending, on where you're at. I think we should revisit and maybe find something more comprehensive or something more more transparent.
Mhm.
That we could do and not based on who goes out to do the actual inspection that
Agreed.
interprets the law. So I think that, not for now, but just to revisit that.
Yep. Agree.
Okay, anyone else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, next charter school meeting is Tuesday, April 25th. Tuesday, April 25th, charter school meeting and council.
Charter.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you motions to adjourn?